Thomas.
Hello, guys. This is the first and last of Nerdom.
Hi,
I'm Thomas.
I'm Michael, Mike Shaw, and like Thomas said, this is our second episode for the 2022. I believe it's our, I don't know, eighth
Hmm.
episode all total. We do have plans to
Yeah.
kind of revisit and go back and do a Chris Nolan episode. That was actually really fun.
Hmm. Yeah.
But we had some screw ups there, and I'm learning the ropes for going live, and eventually we might
Yeah.
bring that back one day. But in any case,
Hmm.
well, it's good to be back for another week.
Yeah.
I was
And it may be good that we get to revisit Christopher Nolan because I went back and watched a few more of his rewatched a few more of his films again, and the noticed some things that I didn't notice originally. So um,
I would agree with that. That the same thing. After we did that, I started seeing probably 2 weeks after that. I started seeing a lot of more coincidences and different kind of different layers, I guess would be the best way to put it
right.
for a Chris
Hmm.
Nolan. But for this week, I think we're going to take the road less traveled for both of
Uh-huh.
us. I
Hmm.
am more of a sci-fi guy. I do enjoy fantasy once in a while, but my main, I guess, default is science
Hmm.
fiction and comic book
Hmm.
stuff. But
Yeah.
how about
Yeah.
fantasy for you?
Yeah.
Where do you land in on that road less traveled, so to speak?
Yeah. Well, I was going to mention that with it being we're recording on Valentine's Day, that kind of ties in nicely with fantasy, I guess. There's a lot of us that are not with someone have to rely on our fantasies, I guess.
Yeah,
But no, I've enjoyed fantasy. To be honest, Star Wars and Dune, in a lot of ways, are very much fantasies with sci-fi elements thrown in. I would think. So when watched Star Wars, I thought, oh, I'm all in on science fiction, and I got into reading some science fiction and realized that maybe I'm not completely a sci-fi guy, and started. I did read Battlefield Earth when I was a kid because I wanted to read. I got in my head I wanted to read the longest book ever, and that book was well over 1,000 pages. So I was like, yes. But my second big book was Sword of Shayinara, which is a fantasy novel that's very much apes the Lord of the Rings in a lot of aspects. Instead of hobbits, you have halflings, and I forget the name of their old wizard that comes to them with a mission that only the halflings can do. And instead of a ring, there's a sword. And I at that point I'd never heard of Lord of the Rings, so I was overwhelmed with sword. And then later on, I did read the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but I still have a deep love for that original series, The Sword of Shaynar. It's written by Terry Brooks, and he wrote an original trilogy, and then he's since written several more trilogies in that world. And actually, I believe um, the interesting thing about this series, it's fantasy, but it takes place in the future, after our civilization has ended, has re-risen, and has sprouted out of fantasy. And actually, my younger sisters read, I think, all of the books at this
oh
point
wow,
in the series. And so she would be more of an expert than I am on this series because I've only read the first 3 or 4 books in the series. But as you can see, the list goes on and on.
yeah, that's
Um,
very prolific. Pro. I'm not gonna.
yeah,
That's a lot of books.
gotcha. Yes, that's a ton of books. Yeah, and I have dreams of maybe reading the full, yeah, the original series is the Sword of Shannara, the Elfstones, and yeah,
Okay.
but yeah,
Yeah.
he and the Wish songs of Shannara, yeah, yeah, the that cover That you sure show those covers bring back lots of memories.
Oh boy.
Yeah, those are. Um, I forget who's the artist. Is it Hildebrandt? I think it is that did at least the first cover.
Okay.
But yeah, and the cool thing about the original series is there was illustrations as well.
Okay.
Every 100 or so pages there was an illustration.
Okay.
And but yeah, I remember sitting on my bed reading those books and listening to the radio as my background music. But yeah, and there was a series that came out not too long ago. I think it was either an adaptation of Elfstone or maybe it was Wish Songs, but I believe it was produced by John Favreau. But it was on MTV, and I don't. I watched the first episode or two, and I wasn't impressed. I think they just didn't have the budget. Maybe they were aiming for that MTV audience that isn't me any longer.
Sorry, it broke up there a little bit, but
Yeah.
you were going over John Favreau's to direct. Was this what you were?
Yeah, yeah. He produced the TV series that was based on one of the books, and I think it only lasted a season. It didn't do so well, and it just wasn't what what I was looking for. I don't think it really had the budget, and there was two seasons actually. Looks like, but yeah, it
Very
just
cool.
wasn't for me as far as. But I only gave it an episode, but I think it was aimed more towards that MTV audience.
Now, did now? Okay, that makes sense. Did it develop a cult following, kind of like how Firefly Serenity did?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
I haven't heard anything in that. Of course, I
Hmm.
am not well traveled in those, and since you shared a little bit of your background with fantasy, I can remember. I never read the books, but I remember seeing Conan the Barbarian, probably when I was way too young to see it as a kid.
Hmm.
And I don't remember like I remember seeing that, and then I know that was based on books. But in any case, that, and then I think the first fantasy book that I read was the exposure to it was, I want to say in middle school, for I think we read The Hobbit, and then I
Hmm.
kind of jumped off for that a little bit. I read a couple of the Lord of the Rings books, and I didn't get too deep into Tolkien.
Yeah.
I'm not really until, well, I'm a casual. I'm a filthy casual, as the
Hmm.
kids would say,
Yeah.
when it comes to fantasy.
Yeah.
I really enjoy aspects of it.
Hmm.
And I remember
Yeah.
playing a Lord of the Rings video game with my cousin around that
Hmm.
time. He was just, that was his. He could give two rabbit's tails about sci-fi or whatever. He was
Hmm.
more, that just captivated him. And I do know a
Hmm.
few folks in my adult circles, like we're not great friends or anything like that, but I know that they got excited when some of these series were being announced.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
the
Hmm.
Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
But I remember growing up with a little bit of fantasy as I got older.
Hmm. Yeah. I
And
read. Mhm.
it's not a
Yeah. I
first
read
love.
Lord of the Rings in high school, and I was impressed upon reading it by my friend Walter, which I would love to have him on as a guest sometimes, but I know he would never do it in a million years. He's not even um, connected to social media. He doesn't
Uh,
have a Facebook. He's
he's
he's off. Yeah,
he's a
he's off in
smart
the
one.
woods somewhere.
He,
Yeah,
he's
but he would be our he would be a Tolkien expert if there was one.
Sure.
But
Well,
yeah.
we do have the. I mean, I'm not sure if he's into it or not, and I wouldn't want to force anybody to be into something they're not. But we have the capability to call in. I think with this Zoom thing, if we keep using it. But in any case, no, that would be really cool. And at some point, we do want to bring on more folks. If it
Hmm.
isn't just
Hmm.
myself and Thomas, but I lean real heavy on Thomas for the comic book side of life. I've
Hmm.
got pretty deep into the sci-fi stuff. But anyway, bringing it back here, what we wanted to talk about this week was not only just kind of jump into the fantasy realm, but to kind of talk about a few things that are out there. One of the big ones, and you kind of gave me a Cliff Notes version of this stuff before we started the show.
Hmm.
But I guess that's as good of a segue as we can to break into Lord of the Rings, as we kind of been beating around the bush around it, and we might as well jump
Yep.
into it.
Yeah.
And so, tell me what's going on with this in Amazon?
Yeah. If you, yeah, that little show yesterday, the Super Bowl, you may have saw the commercial for it, but I know not many people watch that. But yeah, the Amazon, there was a bidding war. Basically, about 3 or 4 years ago, Christopher Tolkien decided that he was going to sell the appendices. I think it is for the Silmarillion. He was very against selling any of the rights to anything. His father was the one that sold the rights to Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit in his later life, just to ensure that his family had some money after he passed away. But after that, Christopher had an iron fist on everything, and he continued to write books on his father's notes and whatnot. But yeah, he was very against any TV shows or movies based off of his stuff. But yeah, he kind of changed his mind a few years ago and decided to put the appendices on sale. And there was a bidding war in Netflix, Amazon, and a few other people were bidding on it. And the Amazon won out. I think they paid 200 million for the rights. And so
Shouldn't say.
but yeah, and as the article says, I guess Jeff Bezos is a huge Lord of the Rings fan, so
Mm.
he was very much interested in getting it done, and getting it done right as far as money wise. He's thrown $500 million on this thing so far, and estimates is that it will probably get over $1 billion to complete the whole thing. It's going to be 5 seasons, and the showrunners for the show they went out with their uh, basic outline for the 5 seasons, and they're relatively unknowns. They have not run another show, so it'll be interesting especially since they're putting these guys in charge here. But as far as the article also says, I think one of the people that worked on the Game of Thrones series, not the showrunners, but I think one of the people that were involved in the show, got on as a consultant for how to run the show. So
Mm.
which with it being a huge fantasy epic, that's probably a good thing to have someone like that on board.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I don't I know virtually nothing about this other than just surface level stuff, like a casual person, normal
Hmm.
normie, and that's
Right.
really how I approach the thing. And I gotta say, I, I I I mean, I'm not like a huge Amazon fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I do really enjoy. I'm not gonna lie, like the first few years when there was this very early days with the streaming services, and there was like it was
Hmm.
just reheated content, like whoever could get
Hmm.
whatever movies or whatever for the time, and then you kind of
Yeah.
had that next phase, which was original content, and now I
Hmm.
think I kind of touched on this in the Cliff Notes, where our pre-show discussion about this stuff, but basically it was. I was kind of trouble kind of nailing it down, but I do think that we are in a golden age of sorts for content, new content, fresh content, that
Hmm.
is in Amazon's pretty. They've done a pretty good job. They did a good job with The Expanse and with a few other comic book shows that I like to follow and like to watch. And
Yeah.
I I I I hold out really good hope. And actually, we kind of touched on this a little bit in the pre-show, where we were talking about, and you mentioned it. I said something like to the effect of like I wasn't quite sure about Jupiter Ascending on Netflix, and
Hmm.
then you said no, it's actually pretty good, pretty decent.
Yes.
And I know the print
Hmm.
material is excellent anyway, but
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to go back and check that out. And again, be
Hmm.
careful who you put in your ear for criticism because you just
Hmm.
never know. That's why I
Right.
don't know about you, but I really pay more attention to like when like my friends like talk about something or this or that. That carries more weight
Mhm.
with me in general with this. But what's your
Mhm.
overall impression? Do you have high hopes for this? Are you kind of nervous? Or how do you fall on the
Well,
spectrum of this? Like as long as they don't get too
yeah.
modern with it, I guess is a good way to put it.
Yeah, they uh the the thing that gets me kind of hesitant is, well, they started with a Tolkien scholar. I forget his name. I think it's an article, but he started off, and he's I don't know anything about Tolkien scholarship, so but evidently he's the go-to guy for anything Tolkien. He's written several books, and he at the beginning he did a interview for the a German magazine, and he revealed that it wasn't the whole Silmarillion that they could cover. It's just the appendices, which covers the second age of
Mm.
uh, of it. So, and there's such a from what people speculated, there's such a tight NDA that they ended up letting him go because of that. Yeah, that Tom Shippey is the scholar. So he got let go early on, and there's discussion on whether or not the scholar that they replaced him with is all that she's cracked up to be. I guess she's said some controversial things on her Twitter account,
Oh
so make
God,
people
yeah.
kind of hesitant.
I Yeah,
But you know,
without regard to like content or whatever, I guess okay. So this is I was trying to find the boy, it lined up perfect the first time. Tom Shipley. I not going into this or that, but I will say this: I don't Twitter. I remember when Twitter was first new, and it was actually an add-on to like a favorite show or something
mhm,
that you would watch. You would like do the
mhm,
hashtag, and it would be a very loose group room chat about what's going on
mhm,
in real time. That was
mhm.
fun back then, but then, well, Twitter became this big thing that
Yeah, and
resembles
just
a
yeah,
trash receptacle that was
yeah,
uh, severe
mhm,
heat coming out of it, called a
uh-huh,
dumpster fire.
yeah. And I think you maybe dipped more into Twitter than I did, but from what I gather and what I've seen is that uh, it's probably at one point, I guess it was maybe beneficial for creators, writers, and whatnot to be on Twitter to promote their works, but I think over time it's gotten to where it may be best for them to step away from it, because I think the temptation is to get too involved into Twitter and get into arguments with their fans, and that's really shouldn't be something that goes on. I think it's better to have a safe distance from your fans, so that
I
and
agree with that.
let the fans argue. That's one of the fun things about fandom, is
Right.
that not all fans agree on things, and
Sure.
let them mix up and really all the I forget what writer said that, once you put it out into the world, it's no longer yours. It's
Right. I agree with that.
what the readership makes of it, or viewership,
Yeah,
if it's a show or a movie.
yeah, I agree with that. There's a good, healthy balance there where different personalities, and of course, this depends on the person and the era of time, and the thing that they're talking about, the content. But I would agree with that. There's a good, healthy distance to keep yourself, because
Hmm.
for one thing, as fans, we want when something is good, we want more of it, and sometimes that can be you be careful
Hmm.
what you wish for, because if you
Hmm.
get too much,
Hmm.
then that invites maybe not criticism, but it invites
Hmm.
it maybe
Yeah.
elevates fandom to maybe to
Right.
a little bit more, instead of a VIP section for the show or the whatever's going on, then it might invite some too much back and forth between the audience
Right. Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
creators.
Yeah. And I'm old enough to know pre-internet days. And even then, the authors and creators that I was into back then, I was very curious of what they had in what made them tick, and I'd get magazines and whatnot with interviews with them, and I would treasure those. I would scan over those to
Hmm.
see what they said. But they were still kind of mysterious entity, whereas I think in this day and age they're so accessible as far as with Twitter and whatnot, and then they're constantly giving their views out into the world. That mystique of a writer creator is no longer quite there anymore,
Yeah,
and you
I
get to
know.
see them warts and all. And the one time I actually met a writer at a signing, it was like, oh, so this is who they are.
Mm.
And the mystique was completely gone, and I kind of got less interested in them as a writer. So
Yeah,
there's
and I
that.
know. Yeah, I know. Well, it's just like Reddit. Reddit still has some value here or there. I don't dip into it near as much as I used to, but I know that if you cultivate, it's kind of like YouTube. You can cultivate your own channels and your own kind of content that you're into. And I know that
Hmm.
there's the horrific side of the front side of Twitter. I know, but there is, like, if you can spend a little bit more time and you can kind of find those like it is really fascinating where it's almost like where you have a director's commentary for your favorite show or your favorite movie or whatever, and then you get that extra layer on
Hmm.
it. I know that they're out there, but my God, how much time in the day? Like you kind of mentioned that a little bit before, like like how much time in the day do you have to like go back through and
Hmm.
honestly, I find that a lot of the good content, like fan content, that adds value as like discussing the ship types or the kind of explains a little bit more the deeper background. I know that I found a lot of great channels on YouTube for Lord of the Rings,
Hmm.
like things that
Hmm.
I was kind of trying to find it, whatever, and I was stumbling all over myself. I couldn't tie my shoes for it to save my life, but there is just so much great layers to Tolkien in any way. To like the
Hmm.
didn't he invent a language to add to
Yeah,
the
the
universe? I mean,
elfish language. Yeah,
yeah, that's
he,
crazy.
yeah,
And that was way back when. How long ago? Long time ago. I
yeah,
want to say 100 years or something like that. Probably not,
hmm
but I just want to say that
yeah.
whatever. But so you
Oh,
and that's
fun fact. Before before I forget, do you know who originally approached Tolkien about doing a movie version of the? It's a music band. Let's see if you can guess.
uh
When Tolkien was still alive.
okay. And when was he still alive?
I
You know
think
what? This
he.
is silly.
Yeah. We got the internet.
I do that all way too much.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so bear
Yeah,
with me
I
here.
was thinking
Okay,
it was 70, so yeah, 71 is, or no,
I want to
72.
say I don't know, but I would say countercult, maybe a punk band. I don't know, but that would be my guess. But I can't even give you no. What band was it?
The Beatles. The Beatles
Oh, no
wanted to
kidding.
do, yeah, they wanted to do adaptation of Lord of the Rings.
No kidding. That's
Yep.
really cool. I did not know that. That's okay. That makes sense
Hmm.
in a way. The top punk band. Well, because of the '70s. That's why. But yeah,
Right.
that's when he died. So
Yeah.
it would have made more sense for the Beatles to be,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'm sure they grew up with him because he's a
Uh-huh.
British. I believe he's a British
Yeah.
author.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's
And
a
yeah, they're big into fantasy. I know Paul McCartney is a huge comic book fan. He wrote a song about Magneto, I believe.
no
So,
kidding. Huh,
yeah.
that's cool. Yeah,
So, but
no, I just
as you would expect, J.R. Tolkien said, "Hell no."
yeah, I'm
Maybe
gonna
not,
make
not maybe more eloquently, but
I'm gonna
but
light
he
some
wasn't
hair on.
the idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna light some hair on fire and just make a really poor joke and just say, well, I just love J.R.R. Tolkien's Chronicles of Narnia. I just love that series. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah,
And anyway, going back to the main point here. So
yeah,
you,
yeah. We
you're
were talking about the show.
yeah. So you are. I guess a better way to put it would be: are you your arm's length? Like maybe.
Yeah, I'm optimistic. There was a concern that this would just become a Game of Thrones knockoff, trying to go for that Game of Thrones audience with the violence and sex. But From what the showrunners said in this interview, they're aiming for an audience that would make it acceptable for 10, 11, 12 year olds. So
Family,
if you,
family out there.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
if you scroll through the pictures, look to be um, look have that look of Lord of the Rings, the from the original movies.
Yeah, there
And
was a, not this one, but there was a there was the looked like a warrior. Yep, this one definitely looks like Gadriel, commander of the Northern Armies. That one looks very Tolkien,
yeah,
Lord of the Rings,
hmm
for sure.
yeah,
These look
and she's an
absolutely.
elf.
Okay, so she's the Gadriel's an elf. Okay, and
Yeah,
then this
yeah,
is
she's
obviously.
from the original Lord of the Rings trilogy. This takes place, I think, 1,000 or so years before Lord of the Rings. So she's a young elf in this,
Okay,
and
and then this was
that's a dwarf. Yeah,
a
yeah.
troll.
This is takes no, a dwarf,
Dwarf.
dwarf,
That's right.
and
That's right. Thank you.
the second picture is a dwarf princess, and
Okay.
then that third picture is of an elf.
Okay.
Um, And
That's
then
kind of.
there's also been grumblings on the Twitters about the race of these and the color of the skin
Yeah.
of the. To be honest, I don't really care. That's that's not a fight I care to get into. It's just whatever, whoever's
Yeah.
best for the part.
I really don't care, so long as the actor or actress is good and
Hmm.
it fits with the overall theme and it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. I think that's the only time, like when folks get,
Hmm.
and they have legitimate. There's, yeah, of course, you can
Hmm.
criticize everything under the sun for
Hmm.
something like this, but
Hmm.
this is an interesting concept because they really didn't touch on the dwarf world all that much. Aside from it, it was already come and gone. It was already
Oh,
over. Like when.
another funny note. One of the I don't know if it's just the trolls of the internet, but some of them were outcrying because the princess doesn't have a beard. If you remember the famous line in Lord of the Rings, Gimli notes that all the dwarf women have beards. So, but of course, I don't think that would have went over all that great in the series
Probably not, but
for a
that's.
look. But
Yeah, that's
yeah.
the thing. That's the thing with the whole. It's. I think it's just a little light anecdote, but the fact checking and whatnot, and we've all come across it here, there, maybe not, but I shared some like Simpsons thing. This is Super Bowl related, some tangentially kind of sort of related, but it was basically like the Simpsons predict everything, and apparently somebody had went a little bit too far afield and said that the Simpsons predicted that the Bengals would beat the Chargers. I think it was L.A. That was back way before they were the
Hmm.
Rams or whatever they
Yeah.
were. But maybe not. I can't. Horrible with that. But anyway, I got fact check on that, and it's just like you're gonna fact check like a fictional TV show like has no bear. It was just like they have too much time on their hand. Anyway, going
Oh
back to
yeah,
this, like
yeah.
I do like these pictures. I do like
Hmm. Yeah.
if any company can put money into it, Amazon is one of the richest
Hmm.
companies in the world. Like I don't even
Yeah.
know what their
Yeah.
market cap is, but it's way more than
Yeah.
I or you will ever see in our lifetimes.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, it comes out in September, and I'll definitely watch it. I'll give it a chance. Like I said,
Yeah.
the looks of the look, it looks great. As far as it's going to live and die by its story. Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't mind if a story has a message. The only time that a message is bad is if it's overdone, beats you over the head,
Yep.
and
Yep.
is like a after school special if you're old
Right.
enough to remember those,
Loosely.
where
Yep. I
the
never.
message was everything. But yeah, as long as you weave it perfectly into a story and the story can live and die by itself,
Yeah.
then we're good.
Yeah, there's a tendency to weave modern day themes into things that don't. It would be one thing if it matched up with the storyline. I completely agree. Like where you don't even pay it
Hmm.
any mind. And
Hmm.
all the better if it can make a point or whatever subtly. But that's
Hmm.
the whole point, subtly, not beat you over the head. And nobody
Exactly.
nobody wants it, nobody jumps into these things and they don't want to have a big heavy serious conversation after something. They want to have like an hour long conversation after the show's over about
Hmm.
the show, about the concepts
Hmm.
and whatnot. I mean,
Yeah.
there's never ending channels on YouTube, like I said again,
Yeah.
and I'll say it all the time.
Hmm.
Whether I don't know whether you
Hmm.
get that content, whether it's Reddit or Facebook or a group or this or that, but there's always these fun fan kind of fan related and fan driven content that you can get that second, third, fourth, fifth layer on top of it, and you can kind of enjoy it another time. Like that's the way Twitter used to be back when it was new. That's when I was heavy on Twitter, and then I kind of, well, I had kids and I
Hmm.
had a life, and I moved away from it, and it is what it is. But
Hmm.
nowadays,
Yeah.
I don't even bother with. I don't even. I don't have time.
Hmm.
Like you said, it's time of the day. I
Yeah.
don't have time for it. Like I. All right,
Right.
this makes me helpful. Like, and $1 billion. Dang.
Yeah. And it's like I said, they're in for they're all set for the 5 seasons. So um
Okay, so it is going
I,
to be 5 seasons. Okay, that's cool.
five
That's in
seasons. Yeah.
September. Okay, that will be really cool. We'll definitely keep an eye on this and
Hmm.
follow up
And
as
yeah,
it kind of unrolls for sure.
maybe we can have a watch, well, not a watch party, but do an episode after the first episode
Sure.
with our thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'd love to do
Um,
that. I've always wanted to do something like that, and I think this podcast is a perfect vehicle for that. And
mhm.
maybe when it's like I hope that our podcast game is way ahead, and I'm sure we'll be by then, so we're not just
We'll have
recording. But
millions of subscribers, and we'll just.
boy, wouldn't that be great? Yeah, there's a lot of work there, and I only have so many
Hmm.
hours in the day, and I know you do too. But this is
Yeah.
definitely a labor of love between us for sure.
Oh yeah,
I just love
definitely.
this stuff. I love to talk about this stuff, and I
Hmm.
don't know if I put it out directly, but well, we're never going to deal directly with the politics or this or that. We just want to focus
Hmm.
on what's in front of us.
Hmm.
Let everybody else do that, do their thing that way.
Yeah.
I'm just a fan. You're a fan.
Hmm.
A lot of this stuff, I can't tell you how many new recommendations that I've got into from just knowing the wider world of this stuff. And I've got
Hmm.
it adds an extra layer. And one of my favorite YouTubers, like a second kind of cool to this
Hmm.
stuff, like to appreciate the art, the authors. I know
Hmm.
we've gone back and forth over the last several
Hmm.
months, a few months. We had a long hiatus there for the end of the year, but in any case,
Hmm.
kind of shifting gears from here to
Yeah.
there. What do you want to cover next? Do you want to go into
Yeah. Oh, and well, I'll say one more thing as far as
sure,
the
please.
politics of it. Those people that are interested in the politics of it, there's tons of channels, one way or the other, as
Yep.
far as content, as far as what you want to see. So if you're kind of wanting to delve into that, there's plenty of that. I think our space is pretty. There's not a whole lot of people out there that just are covering fan stuff, as far
Yeah,
as
no,
um,
it's almost like it's like it's like it's too overlooked, I guess. I don't know, I don't have the right words for it, but yeah, I'm just a fan. I'm a nobody.
yeah.
I just
Yeah,
like
and
what I like.
if I don't like it, I drop it and move on with my life. I
Right.
don't obsess over over the evils of whatever I'm watching.
Yeah, now I do. Now definitely am getting older, and I show my age a lot of times, like with some stuff that like it takes me a time or two to really get into it, to really try to push it through the goal. I'll put it that
Hmm.
way. But that's
Yeah,
for other content that we may or may not talk about
yeah,
here or
right.
later on. And there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with it. It's just
Hmm.
I think I had a pretty
Yep.
good discussion with my brother-in-law the other day, and it's like it's not that I hate it or dislike it or whatever. It's just it's not for me. Like it's just
Right.
I just don't have any
Yep.
interest in it, and I would rather
Hmm.
just kind of move on. And the other
Hmm.
side of this coin, being a dad, you know, there's a whole other level and layer of watching something with your kiddos, you know, and kind of sharing
Mm-hmm.
that with them and getting excited when they get it into it. You know, maybe you're not watching every second of the show or whatever, but you know, or the
Mm-hmm.
movie, but there is that fun aspect to it from that. But you know, time moves
Mm-hmm.
on. We all kind of grow and change, and that's totally fine. And that's the
Yeah.
beautiful thing about life is free will.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I enjoy. I have a couple of nephews that are teenagers on the tail end of being teenagers and on into adults, and it's always interesting to hear their opinions on things and kind of get in their headspace as far as what they like and dislike.
Sure.
And you know, surprisingly, a lot of it's we have similar interests. Like their big show for a while there was Doctor Who. They were all
Yep.
in on Doctor Who.
Yep.
I remember as a young lad, all in on the original Doctor Who. Well, it wasn't the original; it was Tom Baker, when Tom Baker was the Doctor Who with his long scarves and whatnot.
Yep.
And and
Yeah. I had I came to Doctor Who very late, like probably like we're talking after it had been on the BBC for a while, and
hmm
we're talking like modern day, like or approaching
hmm
modern day one, not the most
yeah,
recent one, but like the
hmm
when it first came back, and I can't think of the
hmm
guy's name, but holy cow,
yeah,
I fell in love with
hmm
that, and like I just
hmm
watched it, and then I even got spun
hmm
off into Torchwood for a minute,
oh yeah, yeah,
and that was good, and then it kind of got then it kind of I got busy with other stuff, and it kind of fell off. From
right,
what I heard and seen, it kind of fell off a cliff, but not to my
yeah,
taste. But
yeah,
that's okay. You know, everything.
yeah,
You know, it's kind
yeah,
of like Sliders, like the first season. And we should cover Sliders at some point. It would be great for all, or maybe an alternative universe, parallel universe kind of. There's a great movie out there that I saw that was pretty good. A little down and out movie, but it wasn't very popular. But it's kind of like the
hmm
first two seasons of Sliders is heralded as like just stop there. maybe if you want to be generous, season three, but you don't really want to go beyond that, and because it's just kind of well, every
hmm
show has a rise and a
yeah.
decline, whatever. But anyway,
Yeah,
calm,
yeah. I
calm.
think we could probably follow, go down a rabbit hole with this. But yeah, Heroes was like that too. I don't remember if you
Oh,
remember that show.
that's
Like
right.
that
It
first
was.
one or two episode seasons was great, and then then it took a nosedive.
Yep, that's for sure. That's for
uh,
that. Well, everything has a time in the sun, and that would be.
mhm.
It's funny to revisit those kind of older shows. That's another show. But anyway,
Yeah,
so kind of moving
yeah.
on from here to this, like, and we had a couple of these guys.
hmm
Um, we
Yeah,
had
the
talked
we were
about,
gonna look at, I think, Witcher,
yeah,
Blood
blood,
Origin, or
yeah,
not?
blood.
Yeah, yeah,
So
Blood Origin. Yeah.
this was at the very end of The Witcher season two, where they had a little kind of kick over into this realm,
hmm
like kind of kicking it off, and like I don't know. I'll be honest with you, like The Witcher's good. It's solid. I'm a big Henry Cavill fan. I've said that before. I don't think that he's Jesus Christ incarnate, per se.
hmm
But I enjoy more than than I don't enjoy his shows, or
hmm
especially The Witcher. And we kind of covered this a little bit back and forth yet last week. But in
hmm
any case, this is coming out, and I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to be honest with you. Unless there's an interest there, or we cover it specifically, I'm probably not. It's probably not going to hit my main circle of interest, just in general.
hmm
Just
Well,
because, like,
yeah.
I'm not a super big Witcher fan. And what I did get from you was I need to read books, or the
Yeah,
the short
yeah,
stories. I need to read
hmm
those because I
yeah.
believe this was specifically set off of those a little bit more directly than the show, or at least the execution from the show anyway.
Well, yeah. There's the short stories, and then there's a 5 book series. And to be honest, I've only read the first book. I still need to read the rest of the series. But this series takes place 200 years before all of this, so they're not. It's not based on any book, as far as I'm aware of.
Okay, okay. I stand
And
corrected.
right, and I was very interested to know if the writer of the book was even involved in the series, and I kept digging through various articles, and I did find one that said that he was a consultant, and but being a consultant could mean that you're just cashing a check, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know how involved with it that he is. I know he sold the rights to The Witcher to Netflix, mainly for a nice cash prize, because
Huh.
when he sold the rights to the video game, he thought, well, this video game is going nowhere, so he sold it very cheaply to them, and later was very upset that the series blew up as far as the video game series. And so he was very, if you ask him about those video games, he probably got a nasty retort from him. But yeah, so he's very happy with the series because he got a nice money off of it. So and I don't know how involved he is on the those that first two seasons of The Witcher, but the definitely the first season had a definite a vibe from The Witcher. Less so with the second season. It seemed to branch off and want to tell its own stories. So
Yeah,
even though it
that
was
we kind of covered that in
the previous episode, yeah.
yeah, second or third, like with Jack Kirby and his estate, there was a few lawsuits. I think that was around the time when uh, uh, the main actress for Scarlett Johansson was suing Disney, and around that
Hmm.
same time period, or that time last year, they were bringing a suit, and my understanding is that they do that once in a while to kind of like give us a little bit more money, for the contributions, and I think there's but anyway, it doesn't matter, but for sure, I hope that this is. I don't know. Maybe it's good, but maybe not. I'll give it a fair. I'll give it, as the kids say, or as the boomers say, I'll give it the old college try when it comes out. But
Hmm.
kind of moving on from this to, excuse me, to one that has
Hmm.
had no shortage of issues. You want to talk about, and I think that it sounds to me like they were a little bit more tight-lipped, and they had their leaks a little bit more nailed down for the rings of power, for like
Hmm.
what was going on, what wasn't going on, that kind of thing. But oh
Hmm.
my God, for like the last 2 years, ever since probably 3 years now at this point, but it seems like there was just a back and forth over Game of Thrones, the prequel. Like they had put out like
Hmm.
4 pilots, and then they had picked one, and they had decided that they weren't going to go that direction, and they kind of scrapped it, and they realized, oh nope, and then I gotta kind of pull up where it was last left off at. But anything else to add to Witcher before we kind of jump ship here and
No, we don't know much about it at this point. They just have shown that little clip, and none of the people in the cast kind of stood out to me. Like with Geralt Witcher, he had such a interesting look that you're like, oh, who is this guy? But with the Witcher Blood Origin, none of those characters stood out to me. So
I
and the appeal of The Witcher is Geralt, and
right,
and also Siri as well. But
right,
and those are very interesting characters. So
for sure.
in the preview, none of them stood out to me. Maybe the show is excellent and some of those characters have really come into their own. But yeah, it doesn't look like it's really character driven to me at this point.
Yeah, it kind of. I don't want to be cynical, but there's a small cynical part of me that goes, kind of feels like a cash grab, whatever. But
Hmm. Yeah.
but maybe that's fair, maybe it's not. Again, I can suspend judgment
Oh,
and since
uh,
and go
and
into it
uh,
with an open mind.
there
But
is a there is an animated Witcher
that's right, I did see that.
show as well on Netflix. I haven't watched it, but a guy at work recommended it to me and told me to watch it. So I may do that. I don't know what it covers. If it's an original story or if it covers one of the short stories or one of the books. I'm not aware at this point. But yeah, Nightmare of the
Okay,
Wolf.
we'll
Yeah.
go directly to the. Well, sometimes this can be Ifrit. Nope, we're not going to do that.
Yep.
Nope, nope, nope. But this is good enough. Yeah, okay. I would watch this. I would watch this. We'll see.
Mhm.
What is it? Year? Okay, it's pretty recent. Okay, cool. Okay, so it looks
Yeah.
like it's a movie.
So it looks like it's a movie. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I would do that. I gotta say, just dipping into this very quickly. Have you watched any of the DC animated um, movies that are more geared toward adult audiences? Have you seen any of those whatsoever?
Um. No. No.
Okay.
I've heard a lot of good things about them, but I have
Yeah,
not.
they're solid. I don't think they're the best ever, but I think that they are very solid, and I do enjoy watching them. And once upon a time when I didn't have as much money, and they were more fresh, I may or may not have found alternative ways to watch them. But later on, I did buy them.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
the ones that
And
I really enjoyed.
mhm. I've also heard the Batman animated series is excellent, which I haven't
Yep.
watched either. So, but
You
that's
talking
all
about
on
the
HBO Max, so I'll
yeah?
have
You
to
talking
dig
about the
into it.
kids one that was like once upon a time, like early 2000s, that kind of
Hmm.
thing. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah,
That one's good.
yeah.
I've only watched a few episodes here or there. I haven't got really into it. I'm not really a Batman
Hmm.
fan, to be honest with you. Like I love Batman in general.
Hmm.
Who doesn't love Batman, right? But um, especially the Lego Batman. I love that one and Lego movie. But that was a special.
Hmm.
That was fun time with the kiddos. But that's neither here nor there. But in any case, yeah.
Hmm.
So we're getting Firefield. So yeah, I think I'm gonna I think I'm gonna watch this. If you want to watch this too, and then
Yeah.
maybe we can give a report back because I think
Mhm.
I really don't even care if I just want to watch this.
Yeah.
No, I just know, and I am not by any stretch of the imagination a huge Witcher fan, or I'm a casual, but I didn't really even play the video games all that much. But
Mhm.
the show kind of the season one of Witcher is good. Is
Yeah.
good. It definitely
Yeah.
started something good. I think, like I
Yeah.
said,
I've played the video game, and I think I've got like 50 hours into it, and
oh wow,
I'm probably nowhere near done with it.
sure,
It's one of those games. One of those open world games. I'm one of those guys that will just wander around and
yep,
do stuff and kind of. I don't want to really do the main story. I want to see what's going on over here and over
yep,
there. And the cool
yep.
thing about the Witcher game is that even the little side quests and stuff can develop into a huge storyline, and so some of the best parts of it is that like I remember tracking down this guy that turned into a werewolf, and uh
I don't want to read the plot.
finding the clues, but yeah.
All right.
But yeah, yeah, that game's been out forever, and everybody that wanted to play it has played it. So but I recommend that game to anyone that hasn't, and
Yeah,
is
yep.
looking for a
I
game
did
to
buy
play.
it. Yeah, I do plan on I do want to revisit it at some point and play it. I want to do is I was talking to you. We had a little bit of a snafu on my equipment here, but good old Dell and the updates and the firmware and all that crap. It just went whoop, and I couldn't hear or see anyway. I do would like I need to upgrade my I don't want to get a new laptop, but I do need to get an eGPU. Perhaps we'll
Uh-huh.
see. And of course,
Uh-huh.
maybe if you can find a video card, which you haven't been able to for
Hmm.
years, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But I would like to be able to kind of. I love Steam. Oh, that's another thing too. The on the 25th of February, we don't cover this on the tech side, but the Steam Deck is coming out later on. So I'm
Hmm.
really looking forward to that as a thing,
Hmm.
like to kind of like maybe reawaken a little bit of my gaming spirit. I am nowhere
Hmm.
near a hardcore gamer, and I haven't been for probably a decade plus, probably 2 decades, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But I still like to dip in and play,
Yeah.
play things here or there, especially, well, RimWorld is basically Dune. That's basically the closest Dune game you can get. That it's a lot of aspects were based on that for the bits here or there.
Hmm.
Anyway, moving on, going into the next big one, Game of Thrones. This
Yeah.
prequel, and I don't think we have too much to say about this other than like it exists, and at some point
Hmm.
it's going to be released. And I will say that I have been pretty happy with HBO Max and their content.
Yeah.
One of the things that you can, like I just kind of said before, I kind of called attention to it, was those DC animated movies. A lot of those I think are all on there. But I've rewatched some of my favorites. But I kind of, Game of Thrones kind of fell. I wouldn't say it fell off a cliff per se, but like the last couple seasons, like, were not as fulfilling as I think folks were wanting.
Well, yeah, it kind of showed that the showrunners were leaning heavily on the books, and once the books went away, they had no idea what they wanted to do with with it, and it kind of crumbled.
Right.
I don't think George R. Martin was very much involved with the last two seasons. I think they were like, we could do this on our own. And based off of those last two seasons, or especially that last season, I think that at one point they had to deal with Disney to do a trilogy for Star Wars, and then after that season came out, that just kind of disappeared. So I don't think they're involved with this prequel. I think George R. Martin is. But I thought it was funny that you said that it will eventually come out, much like his next Game of Thrones book.
Well, that I'm going to pin my hopes on that, and I'm sure that the joke here, kind of calling into the tech world, like where we're from, but like the year, like, so the joke, the Lucy and the Charlie Brown joke with the football is that the year, this is going to be the year of the Linux desktop. Not quite, but we'll be waiting for it for a while. But who knows? Who knows? Like,
there is a George R. Martin product coming out next month.
Really?
I don't know if you're aware of it. It's Elden Ring. Elden Ring. It's a video game, and evidently it's done by From Software, and they did the Dark Souls games as well as Bloodborne, and I think it's going to be much like those games. And if I don't know if you've played any of those games, there's not a whole lot of story to them. So I believe that what George R. Martin did was write the lore to this world.
Really?
Yeah.
I have interest in that. That's funny. We're kind of dipping over in the video game realm, and that's totally fine, because like what we did, I don't think there's really much to report on the Game of Thrones, other than it's like it's out there maybe. But this is cool.
Right.
There's also a game that I think I touched on. Maybe I said it last week, maybe not, but it's called Witchfire. But it's like it was at E3 quite a few years ago, like 2017, I think, and then it kind of just disappeared. And then I think it's supposed to come out one of the latter half of this year, and it looks really good. It looks interesting. I have no idea, but like this would be cool. I would check this out. There was another game. Oh, that's right, Shadow of Mordor too. Kind of calling it back to our central topic at hand. And then there's Shadow of Mordor 2, not part of canon, but it was a really fun game to play if you're into grinding. Grind games, that kind of thing. It was fun. I didn't finish either one, but I played enough of it to like it. But it was good enough to buy for me. But the AI, the most impressive thing for me was that you battle the orcs and the hierarchy therein. And as you progress further, it'll actually learn on your play style and adapt to you, which is pretty cool. But okay, I did not know this is coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, I think it's beginning of next month.
Okay,
so it's in a few weeks. So
you gonna check it out?
Yeah, the graphics look great. Oh, I'm not much of a Dark Souls fan, so I'm going to wait and see some maybe Let's Plays of it and see how it plays. To see if it's my speed or not. Though, because those Dark Souls are notoriously difficult games, and
I wasn't into that
I've gotten
either.
to the point where Where if it's a hard game, there's no fun in it for me. If it's too hard, I'm more interested in the story and whatnot. But
Yeah,
yeah, I'll watch some people play it, and I've heard that this game isn't as hard as those, and that's coming from, I believe, the developer. So it may be more my speed. But we'll see. I'll watch some footage of it once it comes out from guys playing online.
yeah, I was more of a Devil May Cry fan for that, where I could just kind of zip in, zip out, and that was hard enough. But like, I'm not going to grind to the nth degree. It's not me. I agree. Like, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's a lot of cool aspects of there, but I'm more of like the laid back Skyrim, open world kind of Witcher, GTA kind of like where you go do what you want to do and then kind of come back and revisit the main storyline if you want to or not. Ever.
Yeah. With Skyrim, I got that on PlayStation VR, and some of the most fun I've had is just wandering around that world. Looking around. There's one part of the game where you're supposed to meet with these wizards at the top of this mountain. And one of the most fun I had was just walking up that mountain and looking around and
That's cool.
having fun. There's some, as well as, I think Skyrim's notorious for the game glitches and whatnot. And one of the funnier ones, there's at that point I had a companion, and I was fighting. This tiger came up on me, and I was fighting it from the front. She came around and was hitting it from the back. We killed it, and the tiger glitched and flew up in the air, up over my head, and I got to watch fly over my head and land
That's
behind me, and that was quite fun in VR.
Yeah, I'm speaking of all that. I'm in a transition point with my living room. It's a mess, but I'm trying to get rid of stuff and downsize some junk. But once I have some things up, I really would like to bring back Family Game Night and Family Movie Night and this and that thing, and it would be really fun to I still have the original Nintendo console that I can hook up. I got to get the connector for it or whatever to make it work for the newer TVs, but I got that, and of course, I'm sure I could just spend $60 and just buy the whatever thing that you can, the modern one. But in any case, this is really cool, and we'll see what happens with that. Maybe it's appropriate. I can, if I do get that. I did sign up for I pre-ordered the Steam Deck. We'll see how that goes, but if it's relevant or whatever, maybe I can do a screen cap or something like that. If it's relevant for maybe this game or another one, of course. Who knows if it works or not? But I've heard good things. Linus did a rundown on that if folks are interested in that. And I will in the show notes. I'll put that Witchfire. I'll put that Witchfire up as like kind of, since we're already in the realm of it. Actually, I might as well just bring it up now. I don't know. I'm coming in blind from this whole thing, but it looks really good. And I hope this is the right one. I don't think this is the right one. Why is it so hard to find? Anyway, it looks cool. I would say to watch the trailer for that. And anyway, speaking of internet and trailers, I believe you had a thing you found, a documentary or something like that. We could pivot to.
Yeah, this is switching from fantasy to superheroes, real life superheroes. If you put in atrocity guide, and good luck on spelling atrocity. Yeah, guide.
Guide.
Yeah, that's the channel on YouTube. Yeah, just go to her channel, and she's got some really great documentaries. I recommend them all. I think I've seen them all. If you go to videos.
Ooh, this is cool. This is the kind of stuff that I would spend all kinds of time watching, just falling down a YouTube rabbit hole for sure. Okay. Wow. So this is like a newer. Okay. Well, not newer, but it's been around for a minute. But okay. So what does she do? She just goes back and revisits just different video game or superhero stuff.
No. Yeah, it's various topics.
So funny. I've
Yeah,
already
yeah,
watched
it
one.
looks like you watched it. Yeah, that's the one I
I
was going to recommend.
I love that one. I have seen that
Uh-huh.
one. I didn't subscribe to her,
Hmm.
but I love that one. That was very
Hmm.
interesting to hear
Hmm.
about that guy and what he did,
Hmm.
and then like
Yeah.
I love that stuff. Love that stuff.
Yeah, but for the audience, the fall of Phoenix Jones. Phoenix Jones is a real life superhero. He became a superhero in Seattle and inspired a group of various people to become superheroes. And this is the tale of his. But yeah, it's very fascinating. I know that there's been a few different documentaries on real life superheroes. I believe there's one on Netflix that I watched, and but yeah, it's really fascinating what these guys do. And but yeah, I highly recommend it.
It's a good watch. It is a good watch. This is the kind of content that you can only find on YouTube. And
Hmm.
whether it's a current event or something like this, there's a we talked offline a little bit. We won't get into it, but there was some. I don't really want to give. I don't really care for the personalities or giving them any more fame. But we had a pretty good conversation of this. But this goes to the power of YouTube, and
Hmm.
and when you have
Yeah.
there's a lot of really talented folks out there that are putting
Hmm.
content out, like, and it seems
Yeah.
like maybe this is like more of a there's maybe it's just because of what we've recently talked about that it's more of a trend, or maybe not, but I'm a sucker for a good documentary anyway. And I remember
Yeah.
back in the day, I would get a VPN and I would remote into a UK IP address. And
Uh-huh.
then I would just go nuts on watching the BBC and, some kind of a documentary or whatever. And it was just
Hmm.
like, I
Yeah.
think one of my good friends a long time ago like made fun of me, and he goes, he left the room and he had to go do something. When he came back, I was hanging out with him, and when he came back, I was like watching the history of cereal or something like that, and he was like, I won't say the blankety blanks, but
Yeah.
he was just like, yep, that's you, Mike, that's you. I leave for
Uh,
10 minutes, and then you're watching something on the History Channel about cereal.
yeah. Yeah, like you said, the it's a kind of a golden age for documentaries on YouTube. There's a lot of people doing really interesting content.
There is.
Another guy that I would recommend is, if you want to pull him up, is Barely Sociable. He does some really good documentaries.
Oh yeah, for sure. Got it. Thanks. I
But
don't
yeah,
want to be a member. Thank you. Thank you, YouTube.
but
I already pay
but
for your
yeah,
YouTube Premium. That's okay. I give you enough money.
yeah,
Okay, wow.
but
So this is
yeah,
anyone in
yeah.
particular? Or wow. Okay, so
I
it looks like there's a pretty good, decent chunk here.
yeah, he does like a multi-part one about the guy who started crypto,
Okay.
Bitcoin, which is really good. But yeah, all of them are very very good. There's yeah, that's the one. In the there it's long form documentaries, like that one's almost an hour. But yeah, if you're really into documentaries, you can fall down a rabbit hole on YouTube on really good. And actually, there's another good documentary series called Down the Rabbit Hole
It's John
that I
McGeechan.
would recommend too. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, he died too. Didn't he die last year? He
Mhm.
passed away last year.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
One thing quick, and then we'll pivot to remember the Ivan gentleman. But
Uh-huh.
this was already coming up. This is pretty good. This Epic Nate, this guy, he talks about this is Grand Theft Auto and
Oh,
Chiliad.
I've seen that. I've seen
Yeah,
that.
that's good. I like that.
Uh,
I've seen it as
yeah.
well. But it's good. I've
Yeah.
watched it.
Yeah.
But in any case, it's just really good. I
Hmm.
wonder if he stopped making content for a while, and I was kind of worried
Oh, wow.
to
Hmm.
see. Okay, so I guess he made a little bit more something recent, but Yeah, so you see 5 months and a year and then this. But anyway, good stuff for sure.
Yep.
But he covers more of the lore of Fallout and Skyrim. I think he does Skyrim too. But he does a lot of cool stuff, like other things that you didn't know about. Well, that's a whole other rabbit hole we could get in with Fallout if we ever get that far, or if we stretch the definition of our podcast to encompass that. I don't see why not. But
and I think we want to get a community kind of going. So if anyone in the in our audience has a recommendation as far as the website, go ahead and put it in our comments down below, and don't forget to like us and subscribe if you haven't yet.
Yeah, I'd love to hear if somebody wants to hear if we should do like a Mastodon type federated thing. Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, by all means, it would be great to have some feedback. But please, and please, by all means, if you like what we're doing, if you have suggestions, criticism, we're wide open here. We
right, yeah. If you have stuff that you love that we just did just a little bit of, or if you hate something,
yeah, please
be kind, but let us know how what works and what doesn't work for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, I think we're getting we have good dynamic going on, and we're going to be definitely coming back with a little bit more better planned out shows and whatnot, and hopefully technology and my skill set not failing us. But we will definitely be coming in. So this gentleman kind of pivoting from all this wonderful YouTube stuff to speaking of the gentleman that passed away not too recently. Even Reitman passed away this year.
Ivan Reitman, yeah.
Ivan Reitman. Excuse me. Why did I say Ian? Jesus. Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, he produced and directed a lot of classic movies. Every article was mentioning Ghostbusters, but he did a lot of great stuff. Like he directed Stripes and Meatballs and a lot of great comedies. Yeah, and he produced a lot of he produced a lot of stuff like it was showing. He produced that Heavy Metal that based off of the magazine, and he produced the Animal House.
Cool. All right.
But yeah, we lost a great one with him. But his son, but his son's carrying the torch. He directed the newest Ghostbusters movie, Afterlife.
Have you seen that one? I have not.
No, I have not. Okay. I've heard good things and I've heard bad things about it. So
same. I've heard pretty good things for the most part. But it will be interesting. And with that, I think we're pretty coming up to the end. But I don't necessarily we had some recommendations or not, but I think we did with the YouTube there. And I can't recommend that. I concur that the Fall of Phoenix Jones is it's just a good documentary to watch for sure.
Yeah, and if you like that, there's something that just came out this past week. Comic Tropes, the guy who does that channel, he's actually was a superhero with Phoenix Jones, and he gives his side of what went on his channel. But yeah, if you want to dig a little deeper with Phoenix Jones, there's various documentaries as well besides that one. I think that one's the best one that you could see as far as documentaries that follow Phoenix Jones. But yeah, if you wanted a different perspective on things, that Comic Tropes little video last week was good too.
Yeah, it was I had got feedback about the back room. Like some friends of mine had watched it and they were like, "Oh my God, like why did I watch this?" In any case, with that, I think we're going to bring it to an end. And next week, we'll be back with the full show. And please comment, like, subscribe, dislike, whatever, whatever. And with that, we hope to look forward to see you next week.
Yeah, see you next time.